When my father was diagnosed with dementia, our family rallied to take care of him. I hired a nurse, my mom took a vacation, and my brother came every weekend. Everyone was on board, except my cousin Ashley, the daughter of my mother's sister, with whom we barely communicated. She lived in another state, appeared once every 5 years, but as soon as she heard about her father's illness, she rushed over, turning on the guardian angel mode. Ashley fed him, took him for walks, stroked his hair, but her concern looked like a cheap performance, too loud, too staged. After a couple of weeks, her father started saying that she was the only one who cares about him, and hinted at rewriting her will. My brother and I knew that we should have got the house and the savings equally, but now everything was changing. I didn't argue. I set up a hidden camera in my father's office, and what I saw turned everything around. Ashley, with papers in her hands, whispered to him, "They're waiting for you to leave. Sign here so that everything is honest." She played on his fears and he, confused, signed. Dad was everything to us. Kind but strict, he taught me how to fix a car and his brother how to play baseball. When the doctor told me about dementia, the world cracked. My mom, brother, and I gave up everything to be around. I found a nurse who made his favorite soup. Mom gave up work to read books to him. My brother, despite his busy schedule, came bringing old photos to remind my father who we were. But Ashley? She was like a ghost who only appeared at Christmas, and even then to borrow money. Her mother, my mother's sister, was always cold to us, and Ashley inherited this icy selfishness. When she found out about my father, I was waiting for the duty officer to say, "I'm sorry." Instead, she arrived with a suitcase and a smile that sent chills down my spine. Ashley flew into our lives as an actress in a leading role. She cooked breakfast for her father, straightened his blanket, took him for walks, sighing loudly. "Poor uncle." Mom was touched at first. "How caring she is." My brother shrugged his shoulders. "Maybe she really wants to help?" But I saw her eyes, they weren't warm. They were like those of a poker player who knows he has a trump card. Ashley took pictures of herself with her father, posted on social media with captions like, "Family is everything." I flipped through her posts and felt something inside shrink. It wasn't a concern. It was a performance, and I didn't know who she was playing for. After a couple of weeks, my father started saying strange things. At dinner, he looked at me and my brother, frowning. "Ashley says you rarely come with me." I was taken aback. "Dad, I'm here every day." He shook his head as if he hadn't heard. Then he said, "She's the only one who cares. We must be fair." I exchanged glances with my brother. Fair was a harsh word. We knew about the will. Years ago, my father showed us the documents, the house where we grew up, and his savings are divided in half between me and my brother. We never asked for it, but he wanted us to be protected. Now he was muttering, "We need to rewrite everything. Ashley deserves it." I could feel the floor slipping away from under my feet. Mom tried to calm him down. "He's just confused." But I saw Ashley whispering to him in the corner, bringing him tea and stroking his hand. Her voice was as sweet as syrup, but I couldn't hear the words. My brother said, "She's stirring up something." I nodded, but it was useless to argue with my father, whose mind was fading. I didn't want to believe that Ashley was capable of meanness, but my gut screamed, "Check it out." I ordered a miniature hidden camera, tiny as a button with sound recording. I installed it in my father's office where he liked to sit. I said to myself, "It's just for peace of mind," but what I saw was worse than any nightmare. 3 days later, I checked the record. Ashley entered the office with a folder of papers and sat down next to her father. Her voice was soft, almost hypnotic. "Uncle, you know how much I love you. I'm always here, unlike them." My father looked at her. His eyes were cloudy, confused. She continued, "They're waiting for you to leave so they can take everything. Your house, your money. But I'm not like that. I want you to be calm." She pushed the papers closer. "Sign here. It's just to be honest, so that I can have my share." I watched my father take the pen with a trembling hand. He asked, "What will the boys say?" Ashley smiled like a snake. "They'll understand. It's for the family." He signed, and I felt like rage was burning me from the inside out. She played on his fears, on his illness, on his loneliness. The father who had protected us all his life was now a puppet in her hands. I rewound the recording, listening over and over again as she manipulated. They're waiting for you to leave. They are us, his children, who slept for 3 hours to be around. I showed the recording to my brother. His face turned white. She's a beast. When my mother saw it, she cried. How could she? But I knew it wasn't over. Ashley thought she had won, that her caring was the perfect mask. She didn't know that the camera had seen everything. And I wasn't going to be silent. I was thinking about my family, about a mother who gave up her life for her father, about my brother who came despite being tired, about a father who deserved peace, not her poison. Ashley wasn't a family. She was a predator who smelled weakness. I squeezed the flash drive with the recording, feeling its cold in my hand. It wasn't just a file. It was the truth that could change everything. I didn't know how to use her, but I knew one thing. Ashley had gone too far, and her game is about to end, because the truth is always louder than a lie. My cousin Ashley manipulated my father, who has dementia, to write herself into his will. On the hidden camera, I saw her whispering to him, "They're waiting for you to leave. Sign here." I didn't scream. I collected the notes, turned to a lawyer and notary public, who confirmed that the new will was signed under duress. We invited Ashley to a family dinner, where I showed the video. She turned pale and babbled about the context, but no one believed her. The recording went to a lawyer, we filed a lawsuit, and the will was declared invalid. Ashley ran away, and the property was left to my brother and me, as my father wanted. Now her name in the family is synonymous with betrayal. We have learned. Family is not about blood, but those who don't stab you in the back when you're vulnerable. I held the flash drive with the recording as a talisman. Ashley thought her performance was flawless, but the camera caught her every whisper, every lie. I didn't rush to accuse her. That would have been too easy. Instead, I collected all the records, made copies, and went to our family friend, Mr. Clark, a notary public who executed my father's will years ago. He looked through the papers his father had signed and frowned. This is a new will, but with dementia? It smells like pressure. Suspiciously. The lawyer I hired was even more categorical. It's not just suspicious. This is a potential criminal case, manipulation of the incapacitated. I felt rage give way to cold determination. Did Ashley want to steal our future? She'll get the truth and she'll crush it. My brother, Mom, and I decided to have a family dinner. We called Ashley and said we wanted to discuss my father's business. She arrived all in her role, a smile, hugs, "How's Uncle?" I looked at her and saw not a cousin, but an actress who doesn't know that the curtain is falling. We sat down at the table. Mom put the casserole on. My brother was silent, clutching his fork. I turned on the TV, plugged in my laptop, and started the video. On the screen, Ashley, with a folder of papers, whispered to her father, "They are waiting for you to leave. I'm the only one around. Sign here." The camera caught her smile, his confused look, the tremor of his hand. Mom gasped, covering her mouth. My brother got up, muttered, "Damn it," and left, slamming the door. Ashley turned pale, as if the blood had drained from her face. This is taken out of context." "I'm sorry," she said. I looked into her eyes. "What's the context, Ashley? You made him sign a will." She started babbling. "I meant well. He was lonely, I cared." Mom, with tears, interrupted. "You lied to him. She called us waiting for his death." Ashley tried to get up, but I said, "Sit down. That's not all. I told you about the notary, about the lawyer, about the fact that the lawyer already has the record." Her eyes darted like those of a hunted animal. "You wouldn't dare," she hissed. My brother returned and said, "We already dared." She grabbed her bag and ran out, leaving a silence as heavy as concrete in her wake. I looked at the empty seat at the table and felt, this is not a victory. This is the end of illusions. We filed a lawsuit. The lawyer sent the father's record and medical documents confirming dementia. The case was clear. Pressure on the incapacitated. Ashley hired some cheap lawyer, but her defense fell apart. She threatened to sue us for defamation. But a week later she fled to her state without showing up for the hearing. The judge was brief. The new will is invalid. The property, the house, the savings, was left to my brother and me, as my father originally wanted. I held the court's decision, but I didn't feel triumphant. I felt tired. Ashley didn't just steal the signature. She stole the trust that I was still trying to see in her. The family has changed. Mom became quieter. Her eyes were red from crying. She blamed herself. I should have noticed. I hugged her. It's not your fault. My brother, who was usually easy on the uptake, was now angry at any mention of Ashley. She's dead to me, he said one day, and I realized he was serious. Ashley's aunt, Ashley's mother, called trying to justify her daughter. She was confused. She needed money. I replied, she's not confused. She chose. After that, my aunt stopped calling. Fortunately, my father didn't know about the drama. His mind was too fragile. We continued to take care of him, read to him, and played old movies. But every time he smiled, I remembered how Ashley used that smile. Ashley became the family ghost. Her name only came up in bitter jokes. When someone said, "Family is sacred," we looked at each other, and silence hung in the air. One day my brother said, "You know, I would forgive her if she stole the money, but she stole Dad." I nodded. It was worse than stealing. It was a betrayal that left scars on all of us. I heard that Ashley was trying to contact her aunt, complaining about the injustice. But even her aunt, her mother, kept her distance. Ashley was left alone, and I didn't regret it. Not out of spite, but out of truth. I was thinking about my father. He didn't deserve this. He built our family, taught us honesty, and Ashley turned his weakness into a weapon. I looked at the house where we grew up, at his old chair in the study, and understood. It's not just walls. This is his legacy, which my brother and I have preserved. Not for myself, but for him. I kept the flash drive with the recording, but I didn't review it. She did her job. The truth came out like a bullet and hit the target exactly. Ashley thought her mask was impenetrable, but she didn't take into account that the truth has a camera. And now her reputation is ashes that no one will collect. I'm sitting in the living room, listening to my mom reading to my dad, and my brother laughing at an old joke. We're still a family despite the scars. Ashley taught us a bitter lesson. Blood doesn't make you family. Relatives are those who do not betray when you are weak. I do not know where she is now, and I do not want to know. Her game is over, but our lives go on. Not perfect, but honest. And that's all that matters.